Now our third thing that we'll be looking at, which is agricultural engineering and mechanization, just as we are having here. And the first topic we'll be having is simple farm tools, uses and maintenance. Simple farm tools are handheld tools used mainly by peasant farmers. Simple farm tools are manually powered. That is, these are tools that are being handled by human beings. These are not tools powered by either machine, either mechanical power or electrical power or wind power, but it is majorly manually. That is, it employs human labor. Examples of simple hand farm tools are cutlasses, our hoe, spade, shovel, and trowel, and so on. We'll be looking at them one after the other. Now we'll be considering types of simple farm tools. And the first one we'll be looking at is the cutlass. The cutlass consists of a short wooden or rubber handle, just as we are having here, and a long metal blade. It is the tool that is commonly used by the peasant farmers. That is, even those that are not peasant farmers still make use of it. And then it is being used for cutting and then clearing of bushes and trees. And it's also being used for weeding of farmland. It's also being used for planting of seeds and harvesting of crops. Just like if you want to plant your maize, you need your cutlass if you have to plant manually. And then also it's being used for harvesting of some crops. It's also being used for transplanting of seed. That is, you use it to dig hole and then you place your seedling inside the earth and then cover it up. Now, the second simple farm tools we'll be looking at here is the spade. A spade is made up of a long wooden handle. It's made of a long wooden handle and a broad metal blade at the base, just as what we are having here. And it is being used for turning of the soil. That is, you use it in turning the soil or leveling of the soil. It is also being used for lifting the soil from one place to another. That is, if you actually need soil in another place, you can use your spade in lifting the soil. It's also being used for digging holes. That is, you can use it also just to dig small holes. Then another common tool, simple farm tool that is being used that we know is a hoe, just as we are having here. A hoe consists of a metal blade at the bottom, which is rigidly fixed on a wooden handle. It is being used for making of ridge and hips, and that is, if you want to prepare a ridge or hip manually, we make use of a hoe. It is also being used for uprooting of stumps and is being used for weeding. The next tool we'll be looking at is the hand trowel. The hand trowel is a small hand tool being used in the garden, which is made of a short metal handle and a scoop-shaped blade. That is just like what we are having here. The shape of this metal blade makes it possible for picking of seedling and then transplanting it. That is, you can easily, when you are transplanting your seedling, you can easily use it to dig a hole and then place the seedling gently inside the earth, the hole you dug. Then it's being used for transplanting of seedling, just as I've explained. It is being used for digging of holes and on beds for planting or transplanting, and it is being used for application and mixing of fertilizer or manure with the soil. The next tool we'll be looking at is the hand fork. Just like the fork we use in eating our yam, or that we use, but it's quite different. This one is being used in the garden or on the field. Hand fork consists of a short wooden or metal handle and a piece of metal, which with 3 or 4 short flat prongs, just like what we are having here. And now we will be considering the uses. It's being used for loosening of soil surface or breaking of soil clots. And the second use is that it's being used for digging of holes on beds, for planting or transplanting, and it's being used for mixing of fertilizer or manure with the soil. Then the next one, which is similar to hand fork but bigger than hand fork, is the garden fork, just as we are having it here. The garden fork is made of a long wooden or metal handle, and a hard metal with 4 prongs or teeth, just as we are having here on the screen. It is being used for turning or manual during compost preparation. That is, if you are preparing your compost manual, you can use it in turning the soil. And it is being used for loosening of the soil surface. That is, if you are to prepare your bed and then you want to if you want to prepare your soil bed for vegetable, you can use it in loosening the soil particles. And it is being used for spreading of manure. That is, after you've made the seed bed, you can use it in spreading manure over the seed bed. Now the next simple farm tool that we'll be looking at is the rake. Just like what we usually use after clearing the bush behind in a backyard. After clearing the bush, we usually use the rake in packing it. A rake consists of a long wooden or metal handle and a strong metal head with several stout prongs. It is being used for removing of weeds and stones from seed beds, and it's also being used for leveling of soil surfaces. It is being used for covering of vegetable seeds when being broadcasted. That is, broadcasting is a means of planting, but here when you broadcast, you just throw your seed on the soil, and for it to germinate, it needs some soil to cover it. So you use your rake to actually cover the seeds, especially vegetable seeds, with the soil. So the rake serves as being useful in broadcasting means of planting. Another uses of usefulness of rake is that it is used for breaking up of soil lumps into finer particles. That is, if we have clods on our seed bed, we can use a rake in breaking all those clods and into finer particles. Now, the next simple farm tool here, that is the axe. In the olden days, when we were not having all these petroleum fuel, we made use of wood. And for the wood, we have to split it. And that's the reason why we actually make use of axe. Although they are still using it, it is still of relative, it's still of use in the rural areas where they don't have much access to petroleum fuels, and where firewoods are readily available and cheap. So an axe consists of a strong wooden or metal handle and a solid, flat, and heavy metal, just as we can see it here, with a sharpened edge. The metal is heavy and it is flat and it has sharpened edge. Uses. It is being used for felling of trees. That is, if you want to fell a tree the crude way, that is manually, we can make use of the axe in the felling of a tree. And then it is being used for cutting of logs. That is, after we fall the tree, that is, we cut the tree, now we can then use it to cut it into logs. And then it is used for splitting of firewoods. Just like in the temperate region, they use it a lot. Once they are in the winter period and it is extremely cold, they usually have a place where they make fire. So it is this axe they use in splitting their wood before being put into that fireplace. And then also in the rural area, the mix of this axe in splitting firewoods so that they can make fire and then prepare their food. It is also being used for uprooting of stumps. Just like now, if you maybe you want to erect a building and the land is more of a virgin land and we have big trees on it. After cutting the trees, you'll be in need of uprooting the stumps. Even so, if you're constructing a road, you'll be in need of uprooting the stumps. And if you don't have money to hire a bulldozer, you make use of an axe. That is, you do it manually, you employ human labor, and then they make use of the axe in uprooting the stumps. Now, the next one we'll be looking at is the pickaxe or digger, that we usually call digger. But normally, the right English name for it is called pickaxe. The pickaxe or digger is made of a long wooden handle and a heavy metal head with double blades. That is, it has blades on each side. And one blade has a flattened tip, and while the other blade has a pointed tip, just as you can see here on the slide. It is being used for tilling of very hard soil. That is, it's being used for breaking off of hard soil, and it is also being used for digging of hole, just like the soil profile. If you want to know the soil profile of an area, we can use the digger in digging the hole. That is, we use it for digging of soil for water wells or foundation for structures. Now the next simple farm tool that we'll be looking at here is the shovel. A shovel has much resemblance with a spade. A shovel has a long wooden or metal handle, but a hollow and broad blade. That is, the blade is not flattened just like what we have in the spade. It has a hollow type of blade. It is being used for transferring of soil from one place to another, and it is also being used for leveling of the ground. The next simple farm tool we'll be looking at. Now the next one, which is also similar to scissors, is the sécateur. Sécateurs are also like scissors. It consists of two short metal blades, just as you are having it here, and those two metal blades, they are quite different from each other. One with a concave curve, and the other with a convex curve.